To BuySide Global. Today I wanted to create a video on supply and demand trading bot version 2, the upgraded version with all the settings we have, how it works, how each strategy works, as well as how you can customize and then create your version of your own strategy and automate with your trading bot. Let's start with the indicator first, because I'm pretty sure almost every one of you very well know how this indicator works, because we covered this indicator almost in every webinar, almost like a lot of videos before. But still, I wanted to cover very quickly, in a nutshell, what it is, and then we'll go in depth in the trading bot. All right, so I have ES 1 minute chart with just one indicator, by say global supply and demand indicator. Um, every time there is a buyer zone or like a seller zone created, you can see the either the blue triangle or the purple pink triangle is created to indicate where exactly and when exactly the zone is created. For example, here, if you look at here, even though the zone is almost starting from here, but the actually zone was printed on the chart when the blue triangle is appearing here. That means when this bar closes, when this bar is running, that's when the signal was printed as a zone was created. At this point, the bot will know, okay, there's a signal. Then it can make the decisions based on your settings. We'll go through that in detail, but please be aware that the just because the zone starts from here, please don't think it's actually the signal is here. Signal is where exactly the blue triangle appears, bar, and then you can see it only on the bar after the signal. So you need to consider this as the entry point. Same way for the downside, you can see the signal is here. That means here is where you would actually see the right here, because bar went down and then this is the next bar. Right here you will be able to see this triangle as well as a zone. Until from here to here you won't see this zone at all. Just be aware. And then one of the foundational behavior on the supply and zone is that most of the time the prices touch and then little bit go inside. Most of the time it does not break through. If it's breakthrough, the zone will stop printing. And then like here, even though it's broken through, I think this demand still exists. It supported the next one. Let's talk about how to trade each signals manually first, because again, trading bot is an automation tool of whatever the trading strategy that you can do manually. Everything you can do manually to trade using supply and demand indicator, you can automate that using the trading bot. Let's say you see the signal right here. You're going to make the decision whether to trade the signal or not. First thing you need to look at is that risk versus reward ratio. What is risk versus reward? If the signal is here, I think if your current price is right here, that means suggested stop is couple of ticks below the zone. That means right here. You can see, let me, I'm not sure you can see. Look at these points in terms of from here, it's 4006 versus 4004. This is like almost like a 2 points. 2 times 4 ticks is 1 point. That means just 8. This is, you're taking just less risk. Okay, what is the potential? Not potential. Suggested target. Target is couple of ticks below the zone. That means your target will be here. Supply demand zone target is here. Supply and demand stop loss is here. That means your risk is from here to here. 4 ticks. Reward is almost like a from here 4007 to 415. This is a great entry you can take, because there is no resistance anywhere near here. So that means you can take this trade. Looks like actually it worked. But let's look at the ones you should not take. Okay, right here, the signal is here, and then next bar is right here. That means where did the bar close? Right here. So if the bar is closed right here, what is the risk versus reward? There is no reward because the bar closed at edge of the target already. So that means there is zero ticks available. What is the risk? From here to all the way here, this is the risk you're taking. So this signal is not even worth considering. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here is a signal. The next bar is right here. What is the close? The way I say close, if the bar is signal is red, when candle is red, that means close is in the bottom. If the candle is green, close is in the top. I think that's how the candles are. Anyway, so the close is right here. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna let you think for your, even though I can't hear your voice, but think a little bit mentally during I pause. From here, what is your risk versus reward? How much you're taking risk and how much your potential reward? All right. Hopefully, you guys had a correct answer. From here, 23 4,023.50 till 25.50. Just 8 ticks is the reward. What is the risk you're going to take from here? 23.50 to almost here 14. That's huge risk for the small gain, even though it didn't even reach there. So we don't recommend these ones. I'm going to show you in the bot how you can set the filter. When I say one thing you need to remember, again I'm going to stress one more time, you need to remember this filter, most important filter in the trading bot. On the risk downside, if you're taking the entry here looking for a long, the risk, the stop line demand, stop loss risk suggested is here, almost from here till here. So you need to calculate in terms of how many ticks is it here that you are taking the risk. It's up to you how where you want to place a stop, but this is what means supply and demand stop loss zone, means from here to here. Okay, let me go to strategy before that so that we can understand. Okay, so actually I'm going to pull this side here and then I'm going to explain you. Okay, all right, so when I said risk versus reward, I'm talking about these two filters, the target filter and then stop loss filter. In this example, when I mentioned like we have only 4 ticks potential target, and then almost like 30 ticks or 40 ticks on the stop loss side, uh, this is what you are trying to filter it out. When you enable the supply and demand stop loss filter checked, and then whatever number you enter here, for every signal bot is going to check where is the current price, where is the nearest demand zone. It will see that it will find that it will calculate the difference from current price to the demand zone stop loss, and then see if it is more than the number that we entered, the bot will ignore the trade, it will not take the trade. So think like for every signal, this whole section is a filters. Whole section is a filters. With this filter, you're going to decide whether you're going to place the trade or ignore the trade. Okay, you're going to decide how whether to place a trade or ignore the trade. So supply and demand stop loss filter is by checking it, by providing a number, you are telling the bot if the current price is is more than 24 ticks from the demand stop loss, do not take the trade, just ignore it. Okay, and the same way on the contrary, if the supply and demand target filter is checked, whatever number you mentioned, same way. In terms of here we have 8 ticks, that this is condition satisfied, but this one it did fail here, but it did succeed here. In this one we are taking only stop loss of only what, I think 10, and then it's almost like 20. So 10 is less than 24. Okay, satisfied. and then here it's 20 on the target side. 20 is more than 4, both satisfied. That means this trade can can be placed just only according to this filter. We're going to check other filters as well, one by one. All right. And then the next one is supply and demand height ticks filter. In terms of, you can see every zone with a different height is based on how much volatility that created that particular zone. More, the better the height is, better the is stronger the zone. That's from our experience. Compared to this one, these ones are much more stronger. You can see here, these zones is try to go inside and then push back twice. Anytime you see zones with better height is always powerful. That's why we wanted to create a filter. Basically, you can mention, if a zone, in this case, since he entered 6, this zone is only what, I think 4. It's only, this zone is only 4 ticks height. So even though it's a very good signal, because of this filter that you have, this signal will be ignored. This signal is satisfied this criteria, this filter criteria, satisfied this criteria, but when it comes to the height, it didn't have enough height to satisfy the criteria that you mentioned here. That means this will be ignored. All right, same way. Now you know the 3 filters. Next one is, it's a double EMA 50. I think most of the traders look at the trend based on the EMA trend as well. I think if you wanted to use the same one, you can just check it. It'll check against EMA. If the EMA 50 is in the long direction, again it's a filter whether to take the trade or not. If the EMA 50 says go long, and then the supply and demand says go short, that means the bot is not going to place the trade. Both need to agree. um, we have one more indicator called supply and demand, sorry, trailing stop indicator. Let me go back to that one. Let me add that particular indicator so that you know. Right, so all right, so you can see trailing stop is both trend indicating indicator. In terms of the greens means the market is bullish, red means bearish, yellow means choppy. It's these colors indicate the trend. um, by each bar what is the trend in the current market. So in this case, there is a long trade signal here, but the trailing stop says is choppy. You don't want it to get into those trades. I think you need to see, like here, when it's go long, even the trading stop also says green long, then you can enter. So if you wanted to use this as a filter, then you can apply the filter that we have, supply and demand trading filter. The alpha, in terms of trading stop alpha, is the trailing stop indicator. You can customize indicator a little bit how close you wanted to. Let's say here, right here. If you take it 6, you can see the trailing stop changes. If you make it 3, it smoothens it out. You don't need to worry about much now. You just understand that the alpha means how how we wanted to draw this particular trailing indicator. Okay, all right, not this one. Let's go back to the bot. um, and then I wanted to add one more indicator, order flow zones. This is one of our most widely used indicator, next to supply and demand, because if you look at this particular indicator alone, I think I'm going to remove everything so that you can see clearly what it can do. I'm going to remove both. Okay, you can see the bar. Before we had a green and red, now you had blue, red, or yellow. So clearly this indicator show you the trend. Look, just I'm going to show you before and after. From here, almost from 11:52 till like 12:28. You can see it's just mix of red and yellow. Can you see it? That means it's a downtrend. If you don't have this indicator, I want you to see the difference. If you don't have it, you can see green, red. It's like green and red. It's like a there's no clear way. I think order flow zones is a better trend indicator. You can find the trend in terms of um, long as blue, short as red, choppy as yellow. That's what the bot is also using it as a filter. When the supply and demand says go long, but the particular order flow zone says it's in red, we don't want to take that red. We both need to be agree at the same direction. That's why we have the filter here. Order flow zones MTA filter. We call it as MTA is because even though you're trading at 1 minute chart on ES, you can check the trend on different chart. That's why we have the interval and then the minute. What do we mean by that? That is almost equivalent to you can you are opening. Let's say if you go to let's say that is equivalent to you going to a different time frame, checking the trend on the higher time frame, and then trying to trade on the lower time frame. Okay, let me go back to the one. Then I can show you one more time. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go back here. Okay. So we covered almost every single filter. Most important one is the order flow zones filter because this is very important in the aspect. One of the most simplest trading rules that I always follow, I think everyone should follow, is trade with the trend. When the market is trending down, you don't want it to go long. When the market is trending up, you don't want it to go short. You always stay in the trend. So when every signal comes in, how do you know what is the market overall trend? Because when it comes to the long signals or short signal, you need to look at the trend on the larger time frame. Let's say we're trading at 1 minute, you need to see, okay, what is the trend on what is the overall trend for like what, last 10 minutes or last 5 minutes or last 3 minutes. Based on that, you can decide whether to take a long trade or short trade. That's why these order flow zones, even though you're trading at 1 minute, you can look at the trend on 2 minutes or 5 minutes, or like even like volume chart at 1,000 volume, whatever the way you wanted to look at the trend. So this is very powerful in terms of uh, staying with the trend. You always need to trade in the same direction of the market is moving. um, Otherwise, I think you're gonna high chances are you're gonna get stopped out. So that's what we recommend in terms of if you're trading in what are the time frame you're trading, always use the time frame higher than the one what you're trading. If you're since I have one, I would either have three or five. If you're trading at two or three, you should have at least 5 or 10. It's always a higher time frame to look at the trend in the higher time frame. All right, so we covered almost every single filter. um, this filter is the one is going to make your bot when you say like I did not find any trades this today, bot did not take any trades today, because you have enabled every single filter as tight as possible. Let's say I have the filter on at 24. Market is moving fast. Every single signal comes with current price is already is 30 ticks above or below the zone. Bot cannot trade those signals because you clearly mentioned you don't want to trade those signals anything above 24. So you need to understand how this filter works. Anytime you see bot is not taking a trade. This is the reason. Please check the filter. One more reason the bot will not take the trade: if you reach your threshold. Let's say, yeah, first two trades are crucial. If first two trades are loss, that means high chances are you already exhausted the daily threshold loss of 300. That means bot is not going to take any more trade. So that is to prevent not huge losses in one day. We can configure whatever the way you want. If you are trading in micros, you can have a different number. If you're trading in mini, you can have a different number. But think like your own trading discipline. What is the number I'm okay to lose per day? If it is above that number, I just want to stop the trading. The day is not going well. I think this is the number you need to have. Well, so two things will make the bot will stop taking the trades. One, based on what is the current PNL so far, and then what are the filters you have. These two are the critical for every single possible entry. The filter is the reason is going to decide whether to place a trade or not to place a trade, ignore the trade. Okay, so we talked about filters. I should have talked about this one earlier, but let me start now. Here we have three trading strategies. Every time there's a zone created, either the long or a short, doesn't matter. Every time there's a zone created, it takes a signal, and then bot can check against this filter and then decide to place the trade or not. All right, so the second one, I think we need to go back to the indicators for a second. We need to attach the supply and demand, but I want to move it up. All right, so we don't see anything bounce here. I think we have a bounce right here. The zone, the supply zone is created here. Price went down, it went inside and then bouncing back. So this is called a bounce. This is not a new zone, it's existing zone. The price went inside and then bouncing back. This is a strategy. If you want to trade this kind of bounce strategies on the existing ones, you can turn on this particular entry. If you want to trade based on every single zone created and then apply the filter to trade or not, you can use this strategy. If you wanted to trade based on the bounce, use this one. One thing about the bounce, we talked about trade with the trend. You cannot use the trend for the bounce. I'm gonna pause for a second. Let me think for yourself why you cannot uh, check. You cannot use the filter if you are using the bounce. Hopefully, if you have the answer in your mind, let me give the answer. The reason is bounce is reversal strategy. If you look at here, market is going up, and then it's reversing. At this point, the long term, the 3 minute trend is long, but you are going to take the short position. That means you are going against the trend. So that's why you cannot enable the filter. Um, if you enable the filter for a trend for the bounce, it's not going to work because you are trading opposite direction. On the bounce, every time the prices bounce, until the bounce, it's long, you're taking short. Let's say you are let's see example for the bounce on the demand. I don't think I have a bounce on the demand anywhere here. Nope. Oh, right here. I see that right here. Okay, so you can see the signal is right here, and then price moves up, and then went inside, and then bounce is going up. This is the bounce from here. If you look at here, from here to here, it's all red candles. You see the red candles here? It's down, but the trend is down, but you're taking long. You're taking against the trend. That's why you cannot use the trend filter for the second strategy. But you can use a this particular trend filter for strategy 1 and 3. Why? Where anytime the new zone says long, you wanted to check what is the overall trend that works. Anytime the The this is like a trend, double trend. Third strategy is whenever the two zones with the same direction signal happens consecutively, then it's a signal. I think let me cover that quickly. All right, so let's see one of those signals. Okay, I don't see anything here. I think it's right here. Even though it's heading right into the resistance, we won't take it because the target filter will fail. But the entry is like this. That's a two same signals. In this case, if you look at here, down, up, up, up happens uh, right next to it. Not too much gap. This is the micro trend we're talking about. In this is when you enable this particular third strategy. It'll take those signals anytime there's a two same directions signal comes in. That's called micro trend. That's what it will take a signal. Again, when this signal happens, again it's going to check the filters, what you set up here, and then decide whether to trade or not. In this case, will this trade will be picked up by the bot or not? No. Why? If you look at here, the it's already hitting the resistance line, so it won't be, it will be ignored. Okay, so I think I covered enough for the trade entry and then the as well as the filters. I will create one more video next um, soon on the trade management, because I wanted to go in depth about the trade management. Is because one, you are entering the trade. You can enter a great trade, but still, if you don't manage your trade well, you're gonna lose a trade. That's where we can make a mistake on picking the trade and then managing the trade. So let's please play around with the trade entry and then trade filters before we create one more video on the trade management. Thank you. If you have any questions, anything that I missed out, I did not cover, please reply back to this email or contact us at info@buysideglobal.com. I'll be happy to create another video or answer any questions in the email as soon as I can. Thank you.